I still haven't figured out what I want to do regarding editing my videos, meaning that should I record on this microphone and then sync the audio with my camera and see how that works with that, because the audio that this gives is definitely a little bit different. It's more fuller. It gives you a nice feel of the room, and it does capture a lot of kind of like noise, but overall it generally hits. You know what I mean? But I wanted to talk about. I was reading through my notes and I came across this one person's name, and it just brought back so many memories. So I was like, you know what, let me make a little video about this. I've been writing, so I write nonstop. Every day it's just something new, something pops up, and it's always a little bit different. And I find that so mesmerizing because you would think that you wouldn't have anything to say for that day. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting here, I'm writing a whole document. And I at least write at least a page, of a document, like a Google Docs document. And it could be like font letter 12, the regular font, or I think now the regular font is 11, like whatever the main thing is, it's like 11. But I would write out a whole page, and then that would be my day. And I would be writing throughout the day, and it's just little thoughts that come to my mind. But there's some days where I do rest. I do take the time to read books, and as I'm reading, I'm absorbing whatever the author is putting out. So right now I'm reading Kim Harrison's Hollow series right now, and the way that she explains different stuff is absolutely amazing. Like reading different books and seeing how the author describes the place that the character is in or what the character is feeling. She's really big on explaining what the character is doing at the moment. So like I would be like, he put his hand to his face and scratched his beard and said, well, what's going on now? You know what I mean? Like it's amazing. But there were four people that wanted to invest in me when in my lifetime, basically. The first person that wanted to invest in me was Dan, and he was my weed dealer. I call this an investment because what else would you call that? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't expecting to be a weed dealer. I didn't grow up thinking in my head like, yeah, I want to be a weed dealer. This is what I want to do in life. I've never ever crossed my mind. It kind of just came at me. And it was just something that I was very comfortable with since day one. So I would smoke. I started smoking at 16, and then from there, it's been an on and off thing. And then it became a everyday thing after I met May. And May was Dan's girlfriend. I had to, I really, I got lost for a second. But May was Dan's boyfriend. May was Dan's, okay, whatever. May was my friend, and then she met Dan. And then he saw that I was struggling with my endeavors because I was buying weed and I was buying quarter pounds, and then I stopped for a little bit and then I started buying pounds. I sold my car. I was like, look, listen, I want to start selling pounds. And he's like, all right, cool. You did the best investment ever, because when you invest in weed, you literally get your money back. So I'm like, yeah, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking. I was just doing what life was just giving me a script, and I was just playing my part. And like it's crazy because it's like life gave me the script, and I would have been really screwed over if I followed everything that it said. But it had a plan for me. There was a plan for me. So he was the first person that invested in me, and I was very taken aback. I wasn't ready for it. And regardless, I still took the opportunity, and I started selling weed, and I was doing it for months at a time. I was just selling weed. And then the second person that invested in me was TJ. And he wanted to be like my manager. Like, he came out of nowhere, where it was first it was Dan. I'm putting this in chronological order so that this makes more sense. So first it was Dan, and then it was TJ. So first it was Dan. I moved to New Brunswick, and like 8 months in, I meet TJ, and TJ wants to be my manager. 8 or 9 or 10 months in, I can't remember. I'm gonna get the timeline down because I was there for a very long time. I'm pretty sure I only had 2 more months left on my lease before I moved out. But anyway, I met him in month 8, and this was after I got sassafras and I was experimenting a little bit, and he wanted to be my manager, and he's pulling me here, pulling me there. He's like, look, listen, you want to do clothing, right? I'm like, yeah, I want to do clothing, but I'm not good at clothing, so I'd rather just sell for you. And he's like, okay. But he's just trying to get me to do something. He just sees something in me, and I see him as a manager. Like, to this day, I would be like, you were trying to invest in me, and I wasn't doing a good job. But I do remember that, and I wanted to thank you for that. The third person was someone that I don't remember his name. He wanted to invest in my clothing line. So I had a clothing line, and that's what TJ was working off of. He saw the clothes, and he's like, all right, I'm going to bring you places, and we're going to try to sell these shirts, and we're going to get this going. I think that he wanted to do shirts the whole time. He wanted to do clothing, but I was like, no, I want to do weed. And he's just like, why would you do weed when you have clothing right here? And he was just trying to push that clothing. So he found an investor, and I'm so sad because I'm just realizing this as I'm talking. Like, I do remember him trying to push the clothing, but I just kept pushing weed. I was like, look, I'm a weed dealer. I don't do clothes. Like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to sell clothes anymore. Like, it's too hard. And he even got this one girl to give me her clothing to sew up for her. And I was like, bro, I don't know how to sew. Stop doing this to me. Like, I just know how to sell weed. But I was also in a manic episode. Like, I was schizophrenic as fuck at the time. And I couldn't do anything about it. So it just really didn't match up. Now I know what he was saying. Like, as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, that's what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to sell clothes. Like, he wanted me to start, you know, developing clothes and start selling that and see where we got from there. But I was saying the whole time, I was like, yo, bro, I'm a weed dealer, bro. Like, this is what I do. I don't do anything else. But the last guy that wanted to invest in me was Kevin Gaviria. He wanted to purchase 50% of my company. And I was just like, we gotta remember it. Like, this whole time that people were investing in me, I was hearing voices. So I wasn't in the right headspace. I was just losing it. And these people are just like, yo, let's invest in you. Let's invest in you. And I had nothing going for me. All I had was an apartment. I had weed, and I was super skinny. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money. All I had was 50 shirts in a bin in my closet that I completely forgot about. And at one point, I started, trying to do the clothing thing. And the people that I rented the apartment with, they were like, Jen, her name was Jen. It was Jen and Bill. Jen was a designer. So she can design stuff on a computer, and she had, I forgot what it's called. It's that stuff that you print out on and then you iron it to your shirt, and then it has the graphic design on the shirt. It wasn't direct to garment like I was doing before, but she knew how to do that, and I had a whole setup. It was like these people were trying to set me up. And being a schizophrenic, like, you start to see it. It starts to become like 3D. Like, you're looking life in 2D. This is what schizophrenia is like. You're looking at life in 2D, and then all of a sudden it becomes 3D. And then you're just like, bro, what the hell is going on? Like, you're just more aware of your surroundings. That's why I call it a superpower. People don't understand what I mean, bro. I'm so serious about this. It's definitely like a superpower. Because just explaining it like that, it was, it's a very surreal thing to go through. You know, hearing voices and hallucinating and seeing things. So hearing voices is auditory hallucination, and seeing things that aren't there is, there's auditory, and then there's visual. It's a visual hallucination. So I kind of had both, but I had more auditory hallucinations. And when I was hearing stuff, it sounded like, just think about your next door neighbors in their house, and then you can hear everything that they're saying. That's what it sounded like. And the whole time I'm hearing voices, I have a little bit of visual hallucination, like the smallest bit, like it all tied in. Like, I was freaking out, and I looked down real quick at someone's phone, and I thought it said, "The police are coming for you." And I was just like, "Oh crap!" I'm walking to my house. I'm walking in the backyard into my apartment, and then I see Jen, and Jen is holding her phone, and it looked like she was holding her phone out to me. And I was like, "The police are coming after you." And I did a U-turn, and I went back in my car, and I just went out for a drive because I was like, well, I won't be there. But I kept going back to my apartment. Like, I had no energy. Like, you lose all of your energy. It's just, schizophrenia is a hell of a disease. But I'm telling you, definitely, I think we should start talking about it like that. But those were the 4 people that invested in me, that wanted to invest in me. The guy that I don't remember, he was going to invest $1,000 into the clothing company because I showed him my designs, and he saw my designs, and he's just sitting there like, okay, I want to invest $1,000 into you. I could do 1,000. And I was like, all right, cool. I was blasted. The whole time I was blasted doing these. And I feel so bad because TJ was really trying. Like, he wanted to get something going, but he didn't realize that I was going through a psychotic episode the whole time. Like, nobody knew that I was going through a psychotic episode. They just thought that I was being an asshole. And I was just like, no, I was not being an asshole. I was hearing shit. I was kind of seeing shit. Oh, I did have visual hallucinations. Not really though. All I saw, it just looked golden. You know what I mean? Like, whenever I got high, because that was the trigger. When I got high, I would see gold, and that was the most visual hallucination that I had. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. I know I started off really slow. You have to really invest into these videos when you listen to them. It's really interesting. But yeah, those were the 4 people that wanted to invest in me, and it changed my life. Like, looking back and seeing, and now that I have more product that I want to push out into the world, I'm like, yo, I'm making videos, I'm writing, I write a lot. I know that only sounds like 2 things, but what else do you need in life? You know what I mean? I also have a lot of free time because I can't work. I can't drive. So many things, so many things. But yeah, bro, if you want to hear more stories about like a person with schizophrenia, going through life and dealing with it, and you want a raw version of it where it's like you're not editing stuff, and I'm not trying to make it interesting for anybody. I'm just throwing it out there just to be like, I want to see who listens. I want to see if anybody pays attention to what's going on in life. Like, are you going to sit down and actually listen to my videos? But yeah, I'm going to leave it at there. I need a new chair. Do you hear it crackling? It sounds terrible.